Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what time it is? It's Tuesday night. And what are we doing on Tuesday? We are having another candid candidate conversation. You know what? We're not even having just one, we are having two. We have two phenomenal sisters that are here, and we are going to be talking to them about their races. So, here we are again with our candid candidate conversation, which is hosted by Win with Black Women and Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. Here is where we center truth, leadership, and the power of our voices in the political process. This space is about more than politics, it's about building power, asking the tough questions, and hearing directly from the women who are stepping up to lead at every level. We know Black women have always been the backbone of democracy, and here we create the space to engage, inform, and mobilize. So, we're going to welcome tonight our first candidate, Sister Tiffany Kelly. Come on to the stage, Sister Tiffany. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good
Sister
evening. Thank you for having me this evening.
Yes, yes, yes. Tell us, Sister Tiffany, what are you running for?
I am running to be the first Black female mayor of Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Okay. Now, tell us about Gaithersburg.
Gaithersburg is a municipality within Montgomery County, Maryland. We are just outside of Washington, D.C. We are a city of just over 70,000 people. We are considered the most diverse city in the country.
Okay, okay. Well, tell us what brought you to this moment? Why do you believe that you are ready to lead the city of Gaithersburg?
To be honest with you, this is a place I never thought I would be. I've always been a leader in my community, starting in Florida, where I was born. That's where my family hails from. I've always been very civically active, especially within my own community. One thing that we did in my family, we got legislation passed back in 2015. That was historic legislation that dealt with abuse of parents by their minor children. So I got bit by the politics bug. I moved to Montgomery County, Maryland. I didn't know anyone here. And when my son and I had been here about 6 months, I received a call that made my heart drop, and it was from police. They had questioned my son without my consent. He had play money on a school bus, and that kind of thrust me into the limelight. Since that time, I have worked on issues related to policing in schools. The outcomes related to black children within our school district. I have worked to get rent stabilization passed in our county. Basically, we cap rent increases in our county, but not in my city. Since I've been in Gaithersburg, it seems like it's a beautiful city, and it really is. But it's only beautiful and the best city for some people. I am constantly working with people who are food insecure, that are facing burdensome housing costs. And honestly, the model we have of service just is not sustainable. As people like me get older, our tax revenue is going to go down. Senior citizens will be the largest population in this county and in this country in the next 20 years. There is going to be less money to do more work. So I propose a model that really engages the community in being the solution, taking a more proactive approach to need in our community. We have really relied on models that are outdated and antiquated. We're serving largely in the same way we were serving when I was a child. There's a better way, and I believe that I have that way.
Well, I'm going to piggyback right off that question because you talked about some needs in your community, and you seem to be very forward looking
Yes.
with those needs. So what does bold leadership look like in this instance?
Well, I have to say this to you. In my city, we have about 40,000 registered voters. And in the last couple of elections, we'll be lucky to get 4 to 5,000 people out to vote. People don't believe government works for them. They are being led by people who don't even speak their language, meaning that they don't understand need and struggle. They don't understand what it's like to be a parent having to work two jobs just to pay the rent and keep food on the table. And when you feel like that, you are less involved in the democratic process. You don't quite understand what politics does for you and what it does to you. So, bold leadership really relies on community engagement to drive the solution for every community. It is impossible to serve when you only consider your own perspective and lived experience. I am constantly out in my community, boots on the ground, right? If I see an active eviction, I stop. When I hear of people being hungry in my city, I take them food, and I do so after hours. I have worked for public housing and Section 8, and I currently work as a federal employee managing multi-million dollar grants. And I have to tell you, there is going to be a level of need like we've never seen before due to federal cuts, due to unprecedented need that our city will face. And our current model just is not sustainable. But we lead by following what the community says that it needs. We lead by saying the solution lies with you. What can we do to equip you to be sure that you have what you need because the current models just will not continue to work? We lead by saying it's not acceptable that 37% of our Black students are not reading at grade level. We lead by saying we will stop the school to prison to pipeline, even though we don't work actively for the school district, by making sure we have programs that take care of our youth. We make sure that we have policy that affects affordable housing. And we make sure that our most treasured resource, our seniors, can continue to live in our community.
Okay. Well, who are some of the voices in communities that will always have a seat at your table?
Well, I will say this. It's difficult sometimes to help people understand how they live with government every single day. So I make it my goal to ensure that people understand how the government shows up in their living room with them every single day, whether they know it or not. The cost of utilities, the cost of cable TV. Those are all things that are regulated or maybe not regulated. And those are the things that are going to cost us every single day. The people who will always have a seat at my table are mothers, immigrants, students. They are the future. Seniors, not just the seniors who are well versed in politics, but those that have great unmet need. I don't believe that I have the answer to every question or to every problem, but I do believe that I have the relationships that I need to be sure that people are always number one. We are living more and more within a city that values profit over people. That's just not acceptable. I had a meeting recently with some seniors who told me that they are in great need. What could I do to help them? And I said, listen, sunshine is free every day. Sunshine is free. So what can we do to get some buckets and some dirt and grow some food so that we can reallocate your fixed income into some other areas by just getting a few dollars worth of seeds and relying on this sunshine every single day? That is a model that can be replicated. I'm always hearing about children being difficult and having problems. But when is the last time we really sat down and spoke with our youth? When is the last time that we paired our seniors with our youth? They have the knowledge, experience, and the time that sometimes parents don't have. When we talk about crime, when I was a kid, the person that kept my community safe was the nosy lady that was dad lived at the end of the block. We are time and time again becoming a society that goes right into the house. We don't even know our neighbors. Community can solve a lot of the issues that we have. And I'm creating a model that can be replicated all over the country. It's time for brand new leadership. It's time for a fresh new perspective. And this election will be the symbol of that, not just in Gaithersburg, but all over the county, the state, and the country. This victory is bigger than me. This is a victory for anyone that feels like they are tired of seeing the status quo leave them out every single time.
Okay. So, with that, what are your top three priorities for your first 100 days? And why are these three things the first?
Well, first of all, we definitely need to get an assessment of what is working and what is not working. And what that means is I don't really want to count widgets. I don't want to hear we served 100 hungry people and it cost us $1 million. That does not measure impact. We really need to look at the things that we put into place and really understand the state of our city. We understand it from one perspective, from the ones that are at the top of the food chain, but we really don't understand how the money we're spending is affecting generational outcomes. So we really need a thorough assessment. The second thing is we really do need to look at our success metrics for our youth. I know that my area has a graduation rate that is lower than the county's average. We need to figure out why. And I can say that in the most diverse area, I can probably speculate why, especially if you have people that are coming from different countries living here. So we definitely need to get a handle on that, and we need to establish partnerships with trusted entities. I have no business going into communities that I don't understand, and I have no business making decisions for them. But I do have an obligation to establish relationships with who they trust so that we can serve in the absolute best way.
Okay. Okay. So, what's your vision for the city?
When you feel like you belong to a city, that you own a piece of the city, you take a different kind of pride in where you live. When you feel at home, you move differently, you think differently, and you operate differently. There is no way we can have the best city for everyone if people are concerned about what they're going to eat at night. I want to eliminate the barriers that we have put up to really helping people, especially those with great need. What people don't understand is that a lot of the social ills that we contend with and we deal with are simply because people don't have what they need. So I want to be in a city where people know that they won't be hungry at night, that they have leadership that is accessible, and that they have leadership that actually cares and will come to your door when you call. I don't need you to come to City Hall to find me. I will come to you. I just want to make sure that we have a city that understands that everyone is welcome here. Seriously, welcome here. They are safe here and they will be taken care of here. And I believe that a lot of what we're dealing with will start to disappear. It won't be immediate. It took us a great amount of time to get here. But in 4 years, I want people to be able to say that their leadership really was very understanding of what they were going through and continues to support them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a couple of fun questions
Okay.
before we wrap up. If your campaign had a theme song, what would it be and why?
We have a theme song, Boots on the Ground. That's what I do. I actually walk around in cowboy boots and a cowboy hat every single day. We got a theme song.
Okay. Okay. Well, then let's move to the next question. What's one piece of advice from either your grandmother, an auntie, or another sage sister that you carry with you every day?
That is a good question. I'm very hard-headed, so sometimes I don't listen. And I don't want anybody in the chat that knows me to say anything. But My dear aunt, her name was Aunt Bummy. It was actually Ruthie May. And she always raised us to believe everybody is important. There is nobody that deserves more attention than anybody else. We are all valuable people, and it takes everybody to make this thing called life work.
Okay. Okay. Now here's one more.
Okay.
You could put together your dream all Black woman advisory team, past or present, who would be on that team, girl?
Stacey Abrams, Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, Erica Badu. Um, who else?
It's your team now. You can have as many folks as you want.
Let me think. Let me think. Iyanla Van Zant, my grandmothers, both of them, please. My mom, because she keeps me grounded. I can be a oh Lord. She keeps me together. My mom. Who else would I put on my team? That's a hard question. I have met some magnificent Black women. My dear friend Valerie Davis, Zakiya Sankar Jabbar of Racial Justice Now, um, Sister Soldier. Um, that's all I can think of right now, but I know I'm leaving somebody out and it's gonna bother me the rest of the night. You shouldn't have done that.
Well, you have to build your team. You have to build your team. And you got some wonderful folks in the chat. You got some wonderful, and they're giving you some great feedback.
Are they
And
really? Thank you, ladies and
they-
gentlemen. I really appreciate it.
our sister Allison said, well thought out, innovative. Um, uh,
Oh, my coach, Angela Carr Patterson. I forgot. That's one other person.
um, Ricky said, I love Tiffany's vision for the community.
Thank you.
Um, And then I'm going to go to a question that's just a comment and a question that's just going to lead us right to the end of our discussion. When is your election?
November 4th, 2025. It is in 4.5 months. I do not have a lot of time.
Okay. And how can they find you? If they want to support you in whatever way they would like to support you, how could they find you?
Absolutely. Tiffany is running. All social media is Tiffany is running. My website, tiffanyisrunning.com. Instagram, TikTok, Tiffany is running, no spaces. Facebook, Tiffany is running. Very, very easy.
I love that. Tiffany
And
is.
listen, I'll be in these streets working hard. So you will see a lot of stuff coming up soon.
Well, thank you, Tiffany, who is running, and she's running for the mayor of Gaithersburg. Um, and we welcome you. And I hope that for those of you who are listening, that you take a moment and check her out on all things social media. And if you feel like she's a candidate you can support, please do. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. All right. All right. Well, we have another amazing sister who we are going to bring onto the stage, Sister Shanel Thomas Henry.
Good
Hello,
evening.
evening. Now, we're going to have us a good time with a Chantel and a Chanel.
I can't tell you how many people call me Chantel.
And I can't tell you how many people call me Chanel.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
we have that in common. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And
Thank you
tell us, what are you running for?
So I am running for New York City Council District 21 in Queens, New York, representing Corona, East Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, and Lefrak City.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm going to ask you just a few questions about your election. And what called you to run for city council?
It's crazy. I always say I just wanted to get things done. This wasn't necessarily my path, but as you can imagine, what he has for us, we don't always know, but it works itself out in the end. I was born in this community that I'm looking to represent. I went away to college. I'm a Howard University two-time grad, HU. So after going to school, when I came back home years later, I had a life, a career, and everything. I stayed in DC for a few years. I came back home, and I said when I came back home is when I found my purpose. My aunt at the time was working for an organization called Elm Corps, and this organization was built by community, right? So the community when I grew up was predominantly African American. So it was a bunch of parents and neighbors who got together when there was no YMCA or Boys and Girls Club in the community. They built this institution to provide those services for our community. So fast forward, my aunt asked me to help. I said, I've been gone for so long. I'm not sure what the community needs or wants. I started attending meetings. Someone told me, we told you to go, not necessarily join. I wind up joining my community board, my precinct council. I eventually became the chair of that nonprofit, Elm Corps, and several others. And it's at that point where I say I found my purpose. And fast forward, I went on to do community outreach for the redevelopment of LaGuardia Airport here in Queens. And I was just tired of hitting these roadblocks where they're like, well, you need to be an elected to get these things done. And here I am.
Well, you actually answered my next question. What moment made you realize that you had to do something? But I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
You kind of answered a few questions.
I'm sorry. When you get in campaign mode.
Look, that's great. That is absolutely great. So let's talk about your district. What are 3 things that you think your district needs right now, and how would you begin to address them if the folks elect you? How are you going to get it done?
So the top 3 things that my district needs is affordable housing. We are in New York City, and there just isn't enough housing for everyone, and it definitely isn't enough housing that is truly affordable. Public safety and economic development. So when we talk about I'm gonna start with economic development. In my background, when I was working at the airport, I created a career center. I opened a career center in the community so individuals will have access to jobs at the airport. I would bring that same type of workforce development from day one to my position. We have over 17,000 vacancies for city jobs and so many private sector jobs that are available, but some people don't know how to get access to them. So I plan on bringing those jobs to my community. From the onset, we're going to have quarterly job fairs. We're going to have opportunities available in my office where individuals looking to either be trained for jobs or if they're looking to expand their career, or unemployed individuals, getting them prepared for jobs, building their resumes and the like. So that will be an ongoing process. That helps lead to affordability. If you have a good sustaining career, then you can find an affordable place to live. It's funny, I was out today actually citing locations within the district to possibly build affordable housing units, partnering with some of our organizations. Again, I come from nonprofit. We recently built an affordable supportive housing unit that's truly affordable for our community. So doing more partnerships like that with private entities as well as our nonprofit partners to make sure that affordable housing is truly affordable. And working with our precincts. I just left a precinct council meeting to do a rundown of what's happening in the community, how are our offices responding, and more community policing. So we're not over policed in our community. So we know the officers that are out here protecting us and have a working relationship with them.
Okay. Well, talking about your communities and having a relationship with them, how will you ensure that the Black community, the working families in your community, and the often overlooked leaders who are in your community feel seen and heard in the work that you do?
I do that every day, right? It is um, going to our schools, being a mentor to young folks in the community, attending the churches, attending community meetings, being within the community to know what's going on and having those relationships. And when someone's in a corner and they're meek and shy, bringing them out to tell their story, making them unafraid to speak their truths, empowering them. Right. A lot of the work I do is through experience. When I went to school, I went to a predominantly white institution for high school. And when I told them I wanted to go to Howard University, they said, you're crazy. One, they told me I couldn't afford it. And two, they were like, just stay here and go to a local school. And I said, no. Howard was only one of two institutions that I applied to. The other was Morgan, because I had the support of my mom, who said I can do and be anything I want to be. So every day when I'm out speaking to young folks, when I'm out speaking to neighbors, it's instilling in them that same confidence. You can do and be whatever you want to be. And what powers our campaign is actually one community, one future. So it's, again, pulling up those behind us. I live by this motto. If a young person can start their journey where I end mine, that's true progress. Don't wait for them to catch up or learn by making the same mistakes I made. We're past that step. Let me help you from this point so you can go beyond what I may even imagine.
Okay. Well, I want you to imagine a moment where you have been elected, you are the city council member. What legacy do you want to leave? Visualize and tell us, what does that look like to you?
Oh, wow. It's one that my children can be proud of. I'm a mom of a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, 2 girls, and then I have 2 bonus boys, 9 and 10. So it's one where they can look up and say, my mom did it, I can do it too. And when we talk about legacy, it's funny because the position I'm running for has only ever been held by one other Black woman. And she actually created this position to represent us. She was the first and the only. So as I've gone on this journey, it's kind of been with her looking down on me. She's a neighbor. Her home was a block away from my grandparents' home. She's actually the person, when she was borough president of Queens, who put me on the community board, where I really started this community work. And when I was looking for an office space, ironically enough, her very first office became available. So when we talk about legacy, it's on her shoulders, and her name is Helen M. Marshall, that I stand. And even when I'm campaigning today, you still hear individuals who remember the work she put in. So yeah, just continuing that legacy. And again, being someone that my children can look up to and say, if my mom can do it, we can do it too.
Okay. Well, let's talk about, because your children probably know you as a slightly different person that is out on the campaign trail. So tell us, what's a hobby or a talent you have that folks may not expect from a city council candidate?
A hobby that I have folks may not expect. So
hobby or talent?
Hobby. So my former career was in entertainment, and I actually led a street team. So I would literally work a 9-to-5 job, and I don't know. This is going back. I don't know if you remember when records came out. There were these big poster boards that would be put on a pole to announce when these posters are coming, when these albums are coming out. And that is one talent that I have that you wouldn't expect. And as I'm gearing up for my election, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to pull that talent out of the dust it off and get back out there and put up my posters come election time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask you about something else fun.
Okay.
If elected, or when
Yes.
elected, let's say it
When
that way.
elected.
What's your playlist on the way to get sworn in?
Wow. Ooh.
Bumping in the car.
Bumping in the that is a good one. I'm gonna have to actually go gospel because this whole time it's been, and the one thing that keeps playing over and over in my head is this battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. So I think that will be like the culmination of everything, because every day is a new challenge, every day is a roadblock, and I keep holding on to that. Like, this is not my battle, it is his. So I think on my way to inauguration and getting sworn in, that I will have to play that just to bring it full circle.
Okay. Well, you know what? The battle is not yours, but you know what? Any good general is going to send you some help. So, who's your dream all Black woman advisory team, past or present? Who you got in your corner?
So I feel lucky because I heard this question beforehand. So of course, standing on her shoulders, I have to mention my former borough president, my former council member, my former assemblywoman, Helen M. Marshall. My current state attorney general and Howard alum, Letitia James. Michelle Obama, I will say Stacey Abrams, and then a couple of folks that you all don't know, but these sisters have held me down. They have been mentors and have helped me through this journey tremendously. And it's two councilwomen in New York, Councilwoman Selvina Brooks Powers, Councilwoman Natasha Williams, Assemblywoman Lorinda Hooks, and because some say I look younger than I am, but I am social media illiterate. So I have to say my digital strategist, Sierra Smith.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, we are about out of time, but we don't want to forget the most important part of this conversation. When's your election, sis?
My election is 1 week from today. So this time next week, the polls will be closing and we will have some results. So my election is June 24th, 2025.
So let me ask a couple of questions because you're in New York. Yes. Is there anything in particular that people need to know about voting?
So right now in New York, early voting has started. So I do encourage a lot of people to vote early. Election day, it is looking like it could go up to 100 degrees. So polls are open. Polls are open now through Sunday. What's unique about our city elections in New York is that it's ranked choice voting. Now, what this means is that in any category, be it we have a mayoral election, our city comptroller, our public advocate, our borough president, and then the city council members. So any member, if no one person gets over 50% of the vote, then it goes into another round and it keeps going until a candidate reaches that 51% of the vote.
Okay. So early voting has started. The election is June the 24th. So how can folks find you and what kind of support do you need from now until the election?
So you can find me on all channels. My website is www.shanelforcouncil.com. My social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook, are at Shanel for Council. And volunteers. So if there are any sisters that can do some phone banking, we're looking for volunteers on election day for early voting. So please reach out. You can reach me directly at Shanel at shanelforcouncil.com or info@shanelforcouncil.com.
Amazing. Well, we thank you for joining us. We wish you the best of luck. And again, your election is when?
It is next Tuesday, June 24th. Polls open at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Thank you. And we appreciate you joining us tonight for a candid candidate conversation. And we wish all of our sisters the best of luck. We will be amplifying the elections and those election dates. You can go over and follow Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, any of the social media sites, because that's one of the things that we do at Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. We amplify Black women who are running for office. And with that, so that we can learn more about you, we are going to talk about how you can be on Candid Candidate Conversations, or if you know a sister who is running for office in 2025 and you think she would like to join us on one of our Tuesday nights, you can scan that QR code and claim your spot. Now, I will tell you, I got to put some new dates up because we only did them through July. So there are some new dates coming. They should be up hopefully by this weekend. And so scan the QR code and it'll take you to our form. We are live on most Tuesday nights. And so please send this information to any sister that you know, because we in our community, we have to take time and hold space for our sisters who are stepping up for leadership. We have another amazing resource for you, and that is if you are a Black woman who is running for office, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote is tracking those candidates and amplifying their leadership. And so we have the 2025 Black women candidates. So if you can scan that QR code and you are a Black woman who is running, you can be part of the Black women candidates in 2025. If you also go to Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, and the website is there for you as well, you can see the 2024 Black Women Candidate Yearbook. All of the Black women who ran for office, we put them in an amazing yearbook so that you can see all of the Black women up and down the ballot who stepped up and ran. And it's you know, we have to encourage our sisters to step up and run. And this is an amazing resource that you can use, because you can look and see who ran, how they did, but you can also see the report on how Black women are doing across the country. We have some amazing stats on Black women. So with that, that brings us to the end of our candidate conversation for this week. And we will be back on July 1 with another candidate conversation. Thank you and good night.